Daniel Ricciardo is one of the most charismatic individuals on the grid. The Aussie has lost his seat in McLaren from 2023 and onwards, although he was under contract for the 2023 season. Both sides have come to an agreement that they should terminate the contract, which turned out to be McLaren paying out around $21 million for the buyout clause. There are some facts now that not many F1 fans knew about Ricciardo, or those of you who know the Aussie pretty well. It'll be good to refresh your memory and remind you that he is not the driver we're used to seeing in the 2021 and 2022 seasons. So, buckle up! Number 9. Ricciardo started karting at 9 years of age and had to move to Europe. He started a karting career much older than, for example, Verstappen and Leclerc, who started at the age of 4. Nevertheless, Ricciardo was a member of the TKC, or the Tiger Kart Club, and in 2005 he entered the Western Australian Formula Ford Championship, finishing 8th in that season. Ricciardo made his Formula 3 debut in 2008 at Nürburgring, but prior to that he made a decision to move to Europe and chase his motorsport ambitions in the old continent. The decision was influenced by his parents, and it's even more impressive that he did not have massive funding or sponsorships at that time, just his sheer desire. Daniel worked his way through the various competitions and leagues, racing against the best up-and-coming drivers across Europe. Throughout his early career, he raced in BMW Asia, Formula BMW UK and Formula BMW World, and afterward earned a seat in Formula Renault. Number 8. Ricciardo's debut in F1 wasn't with Toro Rosso. Although Ricciardo was signed by Red Bull's academy, and it was natural for him to start his career in Toro Rosso, that wasn't the case. He debuted in HRT, a Spanish team known as Hispania Racing Team, in a partnership with the team that saw Ricciardo being placed in the 2011 season in this team. After that, he went to Toro Rosso for 2 seasons, and from 2014 he continued his tenure in Red Bull alongside Sebastian Vettel in his first season, with Daniel Kvyat being his partner for 2015 season. In his first race, Ricciardo qualified dead last at P24 and finished P19 with 5 drivers retiring. Therefore, it's safe to say that his debut wasn't one made in heaven, as he finished the season without any points. His first career points came in 2012 when he raced for Scuderia Toro Rosso Ferrari, finishing with 10 points behind his teammate Verne with 16 points. Number 7. Ricciardo's first career win. Ricciardo's first career win was in Montreal in 2014, and this season Ricciardo claimed 3 wins, with his first one being in Canada. Ricciardo didn't start from pole position, as that one was held by Nico Rosberg, with the Aussie starting from P6. After a fierce battle and competitive racing, Ricciardo took his first win and became the first Aussie driver to win a race after 2012. Nevertheless, it was a season hugely dominated by Mercedes, in which Hamilton received his second championship. Number 6. Ricciardo is a huge fan of tattoos and made his Renault boss get one. Ricciardo has a huge thing for tattoos, and we can see that by the way his body looks. In the Drive to Survive documentary on Netflix, Ricciardo was seen with his tattoos, and one of his favorite ones is placed on his thigh with the words Mama and Papa with hearts around the names. Ricciardo loves tattoos to the extent that he's willing to bet his team bosses to get one after he has a decent result. Prior to the beginning of the 2020 season, Ricciardo made a bet with Cyril Abiteboul that if he is to score a podium for the team, which, by the way, hasn't been done in almost 10 years, the team boss is to get a tattoo by Ricciardo's choice. Thinking that this will motivate him even more, Cyril accepted, and after Ricciardo scored a podium at the Nürburgring, the Frenchman has taken the tattoo this year. Not only that, but Ricciardo was the one that inked Abiteboul. Number 5. As of now, Ricciardo is the last McLaren winner in the past decade. Yes, although it sounds hard to believe, the driver that is currently leaving the team and has no place to race for the next season is the one that won the last race for McLaren in the last decade. 2021 was a season with one highlight for Ricciardo and McLaren, which was his win and the team's 1-2 finish in Monza. Apart from that, Ricciardo hasn't had much glory with McLaren, and the 2022 season is the one that has literally been the deciding factor about his departure from the team. Number 4. Ricciardo loves to take risks in his life, as seen by his F1 transfers. Ricciardo was probably the number 1 driver in the team all the way until 2017, when Verstappen was making himself a case of a young and potent driver, more specifically a generational talent. Prior to that, it was Ricciardo that won 7 races for the team, but unfortunately, in a Mercedes-dominated era, nothing much could have been done. When Ricciardo sensed that the team allegedly started to move more towards Verstappen, he decided to leave the team in 2018 and go to Renault, the fiercest rival at that time when it comes to engine supplies. According to Ricciardo, he didn't have enough faith in the Honda engine that Red Bull started using in 2018 and onwards, which was seen by the bad performance of McLaren, which also used Honda at that time. After 2 years in Renault and him finishing P5 in the 2020 season, yet another surprising move was made by him, and that is to join McLaren. At that time, the team was really strong and showed the potential of fighting with the top dogs. Renault wasn't bad either, and as far as we're seeing now, Alpine is much better than McLaren in the 2022 season due to Ricciardo's bad performance. Nevertheless, Ricciardo is a guy that loves to take risks and loves simply not knowing what the future holds for him and exploring that by himself. Number 3. Daniel is currently dating Heidi Verger. Although Ricciardo's love life hasn't been something that we've been used to seeing frequently, Ricciardo is currently dating the daughter of an ex-F1 driver Gerhard Berger, Heidi Verger. Heidi and Ricciardo were first spotted last year, but now prior to the season resuming from the Belgian GP, Ricciardo has acknowledged their relationship. The Aussie spent his summer break touring America with Heidi, and although he is still uncertain what he'll do in the near future, it seems like life is booming for him outside of the sport. Number 2. Ricciardo is a huge fan of mixed martial arts. According to the man himself, he would love to switch up the steering wheel for boxing or MMA gloves. I'd love to do a charity boxing match or something just to feel that adrenaline of walking into a ring. It's on my to-do list for sure. At school, I had a few little fights, but nothing crazy. Nothing I'd brag about here, says Ricciardo, who learned the sport of boxing from a friend who fought as an amateur as they were growing up. In recent years, his love for combat shifted more towards martial arts, a sport that the Aussie has labelled as quite beautiful, and said that it's an art form and I was just taken by it. Number 1. What is the Shoei, Ricciardo's famous celebration? First of all, it's worth mentioning that Ricciardo didn't invent the celebration, but has continued its implementation across the world. It's hugely popular in Australia, and Ricciardo said, "If the sparkling wine is cold, then it tastes good. If it's warm, then you might sweat through it, but the cold taste kills the bad stuff, so it's delicious," said Ricciardo. The celebration is contained by Ricciardo taking off his shoe, sipping champagne in it, and drinking from it. It has been labelled as gross by many F1 drivers such as Bottas, but others had the joy of sharing it with him. Such was the case with Norris at the 1-2 finish in Monza last year. Ricciardo introduced this trend in 2016 when he celebrated a podium finish at the German GP and repeated the stunt at the Belgian GP. In the latter event, he shared the Shoei with Mark Webber, who also comes from Australia and was a reporter at this time. Ricciardo has shared the Shoei with lots of F1 drivers, such as Nico Rosberg and Max Verstappen, as well as Christian Horner, his former boss in Red Bull. We hope that you enjoyed our video regarding Daniel Ricciardo and the facts revolving around him. Let us know in the comments below if we missed something important.